All right. Shalom, everybody out
Shalom.
there.
Shalom.
This is Waco Israel Ministries
All praises.
here on a Tuesday afternoon.
All praises to the Most High for another opportunity to come before our viewers with truth. For we are not ashamed of the true word of the Most High. There is the power unto salvation for those who believe. To the Hebrew first, then to the Gentile.
So
Amen.
before I want to go into our lesson tonight, I want to put some information out there for those who are interested in knowing. Many things have been hidden from people in this world today. And when I say hidden, I mean either not told to people or taught that certain things don't matter. Okay?
Let me move this so they can see us. Oh, come on, Josh. Just trying to rest a little. I just some more.
So, with that, for example, there isn't much history taught about what happened after 70 AD and the destruction of Jerusalem. There's no real information that is taught about what really happened or where exactly did the children of Israel who did not die in the siege of Jerusalem, where did they end up and where did they go? Where were they originally? And a lot of this information is hid from the population because because it is hid by design, because if the truth were really told the way it was supposed to be told, it would shock a lot of people and leave them well, I don't want to say flabbergasted, but as confused. The title of today's lesson is "Who are the Jews? Who are the children of Israel?"
That's right.
Because that's a very interesting topic. The children of Israel, right? There is a, of course, we're going to prove this with the Bible. Set up. Excuse me, everybody. Didn't mean to do that. I just making sure everything was ready. So when we go into the scriptures, okay, let's look at it like this. When you deal with prophecy and understanding Bible prophecy, why a lot of people don't understand Bible prophecy, or they don't really are interested in studying it to the level they should, is because when you're not taught about the people that the prophecy is about, you follow me? If you don't know who the Bible is about, study something when you don't know who it's about.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And that is why I chose to title the lesson, "Who are the Jews? Who are the real Jews?" Because Christ commanded us to go first to the 12 tribes, the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
And that still stands for today, doesn't it, Josh?
As a matter of fact, before we go into the lesson, I want to go into that. Matthew 10, 5 and 6.
Matthew 10, 5 and 6. All right.
If my computer Bible will do it for me.
Matthew 10, 5 and 6. Now, when Christ uttered these words to his disciples, that still stands for today. We are to go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel first.
That doesn't mean no one else matters, but
Everyone, yes, everybody else matters, but he's
these 12 Yashayah,
that's right.
or Christ sent forth, commanding them, saying, "Go not into the ways of the Gentiles." Now, or into any city of the Samaritans. Now, why does it mention the Samaritans? I'm not going into this too much, but if you read
That's right.
2 Kings 17, you'll see that after the 12 tribes, around 2 Kings 17, 24 and 25, write that down, everybody out there. You'll see that after the 12 tribes left, the 10 tribes were taken out of the northern kingdom. Gentiles came into those lands and assumed the role of the children, the northern kingdom. So that's why Christ said, "Into the way of the Gentiles, or into any city of the Samaritans go ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Okay? So you got to know, everybody, who are these people. Because the Bible is about a race of people. Now, we are taught not to deal with race because no one knows how to deal with it honestly according to the Bible. Because the Bible clearly said, "Go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." So if you're not taught who are these people, how can you first go to the Jew first, then the Gentile?
Mm-hmm.
In modern religion, really, they teach you to just worry about the Gentile and forget about the Jews.
Because they teach that they're all
Why?
Jews
Why? Because the Jews have been conquered and enslaved by the same people who are trying to be an authority in the earth, the European.
Wow, that's right, Josh. Good.
And we're going to show you that and why that is important. So Christ clearly said, "Do not go anywhere first." That's why Paul said to the Jew first, or the Israelites first, and then the Gentile. Before we go into Genesis 49, everybody, let's go to Revelation 2:9.
Revelation 2:9?
Mm-hmm.
And we're coming back to Matthew?
No, we're going to
all right, Revelation.
the book of Revelation 2.
We'll just go there first. All right, Revelation 2:9. Revelation 2:9. You want me to read it, Josh?
So while we're going to Revelation,
all right, tell me what you want me to read. I'll read it.
Revelation chapter 2. Okay, read.
I know thy works and tribulation.
So the tribulation and the works of the children of Israel is, according to Romans chapter 11, is they built all the wealth of the nations they were enslaved to. And due to the fact those nations were able to build their wealth on the back of slaves, they have set up systems where those people will always be on the bottom or in poverty.
Wow.
And I know that, and but thou art rich. Why? Because the same people that have been taught they are nothing through this society are the children of Israel, right?
That's right.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say, so this is very important. See, we're not really taught to read the Bible and really think about it. So there's a people claiming they are the children of Israel or the Jews or Judah or Yahweh. Okay? So if we look throughout the earth, brothers and sisters, what people are claiming they are the Israelites or the Jews, Jewish people? And the Bible says so. That's very easy to identify. So the Jewish people are claiming to be the Israelites, but they are not and are not. Wait a minute. So these people who are claiming a race are not the race they are claiming. That's why they say they are Jewish. Jewish means almost or pertaining to somebody. If you look up the definition of the suffix ish, you will see that it means pertaining to or almost something.
Right.
But are the synagogue of Satan, because the Jewish religion is really Satanism when you go and research the different books they really believe in. Okay, so Revelation 2:9 disproves Jewish people as the children of Israel and actually points to another people being the Israelites, according to the Bible.
And are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of, you want me to keep reading?
No, read. No. Go to Genesis 49 now.
All right, Genesis 49. Precept upon precept. Genesis 49.
We're going to read a little about this, and then I want to show you all generally, now real time, see? So the children of Israel are from this location around Africa, okay? So all the 12 tribes would end up through their different captivities, ending up in different regions around Africa and what they call the Middle East, or Turkey and all these different Iraq, Iran, Yemen, generally Saudi Arabia, and different places in the continent of Africa. So the Bible is centrally written in an African context. In other words, it was written in an African state or land or African country called Israel. Because Israel is a part of Africa. Okay?
Okay, Josh.
So.
Right, that's awesome, man. Hey, a brother listened to that today. He told me.
So Genesis 49, verse 1.
Yes, sir. Okay, ready? Jacob's prophecy concerning his sons.
Read.
And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together. Look at that. That's what's happening today. That I will tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. So this awakening that's happening now all over the world, it's not a fad, it's not a movement, it's an awakening, a true awakening. Gather yourselves together and hear, ye sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father.
Read.
Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity.
Now, who are the tribe of Reuben? The tribe of Reuben, and I'm going to read out of one of our books we have. I'm going to show it.
Show them on the screen who they are too, Josh.
Okay, so the Reubenites, and you can. the tribe of Reuben would end up mainly in Florida as the Seminole Indians, and if you go to and they would end up being the Aboriginal people in Australia.
That's right.
So the Aboriginals of Australia and the Seminole Indians are the tribe of Reuben according to the Bible. And I'll share the screen again. I just want to show you, brothers and history. Okay. This is one of our books called The Lost Tribes in the Promised Land by Ronald Sanders, who is a Jewish historian. So these people understand history and the real races of people they've lied about to people, to the whole world. So what do the Jewish people know about the Seminole Indians and the indigenous Americans that Columbus and Cortez destroyed? This is page chapter 30, page 363 in Lost Tribes in the Promised Land. Unto this return to hold on. Okay. Suddenly he stopped. Those Indians, he told himself, they are Hebrews. So hold on. So what happened was this Spanish explorer called Montezino had a friend, Francisco, who was an Israelite, who was a so-called Native American Indian. But the Spaniards and the Spanish knew that the Indians are the 10 tribes of Israel, the lost 10 tribes.
Yes, sir.
So if you are of Indian, Seminole Indian, or Native American Indian bloodline and Hispanic bloodline, meaning you have maintained a unbroken line of male ancestry going back to the original people that were here. You are a bloodline descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, according to history.
That's right. Come on. That's right, because you ended up here.
So the Indians, they are, he told himself they are Hebrews, founding that this thought increasingly he yet was growing up. He resolved that that it was ever revealed that he would seek out the Indian Francisco and try to learn the truth. Montezino's story unclear to the circumstances of his okay, I'll skip. These two men were soon back in rugged mountains, this is talking about in America, in which Francisco had been made an ineffable revelation, marching relentlessly for a week before they finally came to a halt. It was a Saturday, so that means the Native Americans kept this holy day of the Sabbath. They were observing the law.
That's right. Come on.
Their law of their ancestors. the Hebrews. Montezinos makes a point of telling us that he had come to a river large as the Danero, which there are echoes of the, okay, waving a banner high in the air. The Indian guide soon was greeted by a puff of smoke far beyond the other. Okay, back to the river to response his to in response to his signal, the two men waited. Eventually, a canoe appeared bearing three men and a woman, all of them Indians or Israelites. And to the place where Francisco and Montesinos were standing. Now remember, Francisco is the Indian and Montesinos is the Spaniard or the white man. Were standing at the waters as the woman got off and spoke to Francisco in the Hebrew tongue, which Montesinos could not understand, although he could perceive that he was being identified in the conversation. Upon hearing her words, they rose and went over to Montesinos, and to his utter astonishment said, Shema Yashayah, Ahayah, alahayahnawa, Ahayah, acaad. O Hero Israel, the Most High our God is one. They have recited in Hebrew the fundamental creed of Israel. So brothers and sisters, okay. So brothers and sisters, the Native Americans were speaking their original language when they were discovered by the Spaniards. They did not speak Spanish until 500 years ago.
That's right.
The Native Americans, all of them, and the Hispanics spoke the Hebrew language because they are the children of Israel.
That's right.
According to history, brothers and sisters, according to history of America that has been hidden from us.
You have to bang the table. Just go on.
A brief conversation then ensued in their common ancestral tongue. So Spanish is not the ancestral tongue of the Spanish or the Indian.
That's right. And they have a hard time with that, Joshua. They have a hard time with
According to Montesinos, whose fluency in that in it was perplexing to the reader, they said they told the Indians told him that they were themselves of the tribe of Reuben.
Wow.
So the Seminole Indians identified themselves as Israelites, not Spanish, not Roman Catholic, or not Christian. If you are a descendant of a Seminole Indian, a Native American Indian, or a Hispanic person through an unbroken succession of indigenous males, you are an Israelite according to history. And that the tribe of Joseph lived on an island nearby. Who are the tribes of Joseph? That's his son Ephraim and Manasseh, who are the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans. Okay? So before we go back into the scripture, so again, the tribe of Reuben are the Seminole Indians, mainly in Florida and Australia. And okay. So Reuben, unstable as water, he shall not excel. because, okay, so he was unstable because he did not make agreements with the, you can read that in Psalm 55 for yourself. Psalm 55, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. So back to the earth map. Now, the earth is not round. The earth is a flat disk. And we'll show, I'll try to make this as quickly as. So the tribe of Reuben, or the tribe of Simeon, came here 720 years before the Messiah. And if you look at it, here is the land. Now, you have different so-called, I think it was the Liquataino Indians, both in Puerto Rico and the Dominican, or it could have been the Arawak or the Crib Indian tribe, but so if you are a direct descendant of the original inhabitants of the Dominican Republic or Haiti, you are a Levite, Levite if you're Haitian, or if you live Dominican, so-called Dominican, you are of the tribe of Simeon.
Yeah, Simeonite.
O my soul, come not into their secrets. Why? Because these people deal with high-level occult witchcraft, voodoo, Django, Santa Maria. So we are not to deal with those things. Why? Because they can harm a person if you deal with them and not understand what you're dealing with. Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise. Now the tribe of Judah, this gets interesting now, brothers and sisters. The tribe of Judah, let me zoom out. If you look at this area in Africa, around Angola, Cameroon, Congo, Nigeria, Togo, Lagos, Benin. This is where Niger,
Cameroon, I think
this is where the tribe of Judah was taken from. The tribe of Judah and they were also taken to parts of Brazil as well. But mainly, the tribe of Judah were taken over and enslaved in the South and sold throughout America as slaves off cargo slave ships. And I'll prove that with Deuteronomy 28 in a minute. So Judah, thou art whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down to thee. Why? Because Christ is an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. The Judites are the so-called Negroes mainly here in America. And there are remnants of them still spread throughout the four corners of the earth, especially in Africa. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou hast gone up, thou stooped down. He had crouched as a lion, as a old lion who shall rile him up. So we are commanded to rile up the 12 tribes by telling them who they are according to the Bible.
Uh-huh.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall be the gathering. Unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Binding his foal to the ass and his asked his call to the choice vine. He dipped his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes, describing the second coming of Christ. His eyes are red with wine because Christ is coming back to do war, and teeth are white and pure in milk. Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the sea, and he shall be a haven of ships. Now, if we go back to the map, the tribe of Zebulun would end up settling between Panama and Colombia. The
Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal is a haven of ships spoken of by Jacob in his prophecy. So if you are an indigenous Colombian or Panamanian, you are an Israelite according to the Bible. Issachar is a strong ass crouching down between two burdens. Again, who is Issachar? Issachar are the indigenous people that dwelt in Mexico, and a lot of them also in the west part of America. The Aztecs,
Mayans.
Then, so Mexico is the land of Issachar at the end, according to the Bible. Issachar, he shall dwell, he shall see that rest is good, and that the land that is pleasant, he shall bow his shoulder to bear and become a servant unto tribute. Letting you know that the Mexicans will work long, hard hours as well as the other tribes for little pay. Okay? So this Mexico, brothers and sisters, is the land of Issachar according to the Bible. I'm going to skip Gad, verse 20.
19, actually.
19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, and he shall overcome at the last. The tribe of Gad would end up having, according to Deuteronomy 33, the best part of the land, mainly. So they would dwell in America, the mainland. If you are a Native American by blood, you are an Israelite, according to the Bible. Naphtali, out of Asher, his bread shall be fat, and he shall be, and they shall yield royal dainties. The tribes of Asher, brother, hold on, let me zoom out. That should be. Asher would end up dwelling in Venezuela, Brazil, Argentina, and Peru. So these are the lands where Issachar or Asher, the royal dainties mainly is oil and different minerals that would be rich in these areas of the earth. Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. Hawaii, The Hawaii, the tribe of Naphtali is mainly in Hawaii and Samoa and different South Sea islands. So if you are a Hawaiian, a Samoan, or an indigenous person of the South Seas, you are a Hebrew according to the Bible.
Yes.
Joseph is a fruitful broad, even a fruitful broad by the well whose branches run over the wall.
2 sons.
So go back to the earth map, zoom off, zoom out, go back to,
Cuba and Puerto Rico.
so the 2 sons of Joseph are
Manasseh and
are it should be here. Okay, you have Ephraim, who are the indigenous Puerto Ricans, and then you have the Cubans, who are the tribe of Manasseh. And when the Bible refers to them as being fruitful, that means they have lots of children, as do all the Israelite tribes. They are very fertile people. They reproduce. Right?
Correct, that's correct.
So the archers grieved at him and shot at him. Speaking of Joseph, that's speaking of the Europeans who conquered those areas. But this, he would have strength in his arms and of his hands, were made mighty by the mighty God of Jacob. Okay. Even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee.
You want me to read, Josh?
You want to read?
Where are you, Josh? Where are you? Where are you?
23.
Where? Deuteronomy?
No.
Where?
Genesis 49.
23. Hold on. 23?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I can see it, Josh. Keep on. I'm just dozing off. I'm real tired, Josh. Sorry. I didn't sleep then. All right, 23. Ready? The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. But his bow abode in strength, and that arms of his hands and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty power of Jacob to God. From thence is the shepherd, the the stone of Israel, even by the power of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty who shall bless thee, with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under. That
means the waters and the sea. Very beautiful, lot of food abundant.
Where the tribes are, right? Blessings of the beast and of the moon.
Uh-huh.
The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my pomegranates, progenitors, unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. It shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren.
Read.
Keep reading.
Read.
Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoils.
So the Jamaica, so the Jamaicans were mainly taken from Some of them were taken off of Madagascar, and I forgot the other place in Africa where they were, but but they are the Jamaican, so-called Jamaicans, and those who live in places like Antigua, the St. Louis Islands, St. Verde Islands, Antigua, St. Mary, St. Lucius.
Wow.
Bermuda, Martinique, Barbados, Grenadina, Martinique, and the Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin.
These islands where they all go vacation, right?
These are the
places,
the biblical lands
of Israel,
of the tribe of Benjamin in the last days.
Wow. And also Jamaica, right, Josh?
So
yeah, Jamaica.
I want to show the brothers and sisters so why, brothers and sisters, is this information not taught to us? And I'll put us on. I want to show
it's working, Josh. It's staying on. That's good.
Okay. What I want to show
all praises,
you.
All praises. Good to know this. Good to know this.
So those are the biblical 12 tribes of Israel. Now I want to show you in a second, how do we know for sure those people? I want to go into Deuteronomy 28 in a minute and show you. I want to show you the 12 tribes. Now, Christ, regardless of who you are, you need to believe and be baptized in the name of Christ.
That's right.
This is purely to give these people something to identify with, so they have a point where they can go on and pursue something, because the children of Israel aren't really given nothing to look up to this world as positive.
That's right.
Okay. They are, excuse me. So before we go into Deuteronomy 28, the reason these things have been hidden from you through all your seminaries. So all the seminaries are taught your pastors completely wrong as to how the Bible is supposed to be interpreted. So again, the Bible is not a Western European book, regardless of how you may see it.
That's right.
The Bible is a history book of the Israelites, and you must know and identify who are these people.
Come on, that's right.
If you want to truly understand the Bible and the mission of Christ, you must first understand who are the Israelites. Then go forward. You'll misunderstand Christ, the epistles, and everything without a fundamental understanding of who are the Israelites. Okay, let's go into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter.
Okay.
We have, I think the Most High, we haven't had any technical difficulties today.
Yeah, that's good. We've been having a lot of problem with it, but we're hoping we can get it looked at too, Josh. Where do you want to start, Josh? Hang up, Josh. Just hang up. Don't even talk. Just tell me you're on.
So, Deuteronomy, hopefully it will do it.
Did you text Shy? Josh?
So, while I'm waiting for this to come up, so when you understand the why are we going into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter? Because Deuteronomy 28 contains the real markers of how you identify who are the Israelites today.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Other than being able to understand the 12 tribes, you must first understand, brothers and sisters, who is Deuteronomy 28 about?
Yes, hello? Yes, this is we're on the air right now. Go back tomorrow.
Deuteronomy 28 verse, and I'll start off and break it down like this. Verse 1. It shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Most High thy God, to observe and do all his commandments, which he commands you this day, then the Most High shall set thee high above all the nations of the earth. So the Most High intended the Israelites to dictate to the earth everything. He never meant for his people to be underneath or enslaved.
That's right, not equal.
Now, judgments, when you think of a curse, don't think of it as a curse. Think more of it as a disciplinary action.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I like that, Josh.
Verse 15.
All right. But it shall come to pass, if thou shalt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe to do all his commandments, commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses, judgments, shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So basically, all these disciplinary actions shall come upon you. So I want to look at a couple of these first ones, then we'll skip around Deuteronomy 28, and I want to close and show you something in Joel, with Joel. So
go ahead, Josh.
The first curse or judgment or punishment is, cursed shall you be in the city and in the field. So when we think about poverty and being cursed in a city, what group of people generally comes to mind when you think of poverty or the hood is really what Moses is saying. So we know that the inner city or the so-called Negroes and different, mainly Levites, Jamaicans, Haitians, and Negroes are the most cursed or poorest by a group in a city, because they don't own nothing. Mostly they don't own most of the businesses in their own community. Now, why is that, brothers and sisters? Because it is a judgment, a curse that the Most High has put on them. Why? As a way to identify who his people are, so they can correct it and come together and unify as a people. Right? Cursed shalt thou be thy basket and thy store. That's talking mostly about the food and the money. The store, because who owns most of the food restaurants in the black community? You have Burger King, McDonald's, different restaurants like that,
Josh,
Walmart.
what do you call the curses instead of curses? What do they call?
Disciplinary or
Judgments.
disciplinary
That's right.
actions.
Amen.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the increase of thy kind, thy flocks and sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in. That means not all, but a lot of black families have trouble within the family. You have different religious beliefs in black families. You have one who's a Baptist, a Methodist, a Lutheran, an atheist.
Yeah, how come? Yeah.
And different religious beliefs all in the same family. You'll even have a Muslim in some black families. Why? Because they are confused to who they are according to the Bible.
That's right. Like,
and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. That means gang violence, race on race violence, police brutality. This is all describing the inner city or the ghetto. When you really read it with understanding. And Moses himself was a black man, brothers and sisters. Moses was not a white man. Moses was a black Hebrew Israelite.
Yes, hello? Yes.
So verses 20 goes into different vexations or sicknesses. I want to read verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way before them, 70 AD, and flee 7 ways from before them, and be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. So if we go back to our map and zoom out, Israel is in this general area, right? So you would be removed into Europe, the Middle East, Asia, the islands, and the Americas. What people are spread throughout the whole earth? Negroes, even the Native American Indians have been spread out through the whole earth. Because Columbus and them took them as slaves back to Europe, right? So all the Israelite tribes have been spread throughout the whole earth, or all the kingdoms. And thy carcass shall be meat for the fowls of the air. It wasn't terribly uncommon for you back in the day. It's during slavery and up until the 1950s or 60s even, to see black Negroes or Israelites hung out on trees here in America.
That's right. Up to the year 2000 too.
And the Lord shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt and the Emirates and the scab. These are different sicknesses. And thou shalt be smitten with madness, blindness, and astonishment of heart, not understanding why you're in your condition. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth at darkness. And thou shalt so thou shalt not prosper in all thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled always. What does that mean? As a group of people, the children of Israel, since they have been brought here as slaves, have not prospered as a group, as a whole nation.
That's right.
That's not talking about a couple rich Negroes that have been put up by the white man to be distractions.
Yeah.
That's your athletes and your actors.
To fool the rest of the blacks in majority of in the United States that are poor. They do that to deceive. There's only 1% that are rich in the United States anyway.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the Spanish and the slave masters raped a lot of black women during slavery.
Right.
Thou shalt build an house,
Mm-hmm.
and you shall not dwell therein. Meaning you'll build everything and really not have
Your own place.
your own real
That's right. You'll have a shack.
right.
And that means the White House too. All those houses in Washington, the slaves built.
I'll skip to verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee into, and thy king which shall set over thee, unto a land which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. Wood and stone. In the Middle East, what are two of the major religions in the earth? Man-made religions, Christianity and Islam. Islam is more of an Ishmaelite or an Arab religion. So the stone is talking about Islam. Now, Christianity is a European,
made up.
The modern Christianity that has a lot of people involved in it is a European made-up religion.
That's right, by the Pope of Rome.
So Christianity or the wood would rule the European-dominated areas of the earth.
Even goes back further than that. That's where they got it. Babylon.
I'll skip to verse. Thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all these nations. What are the bywords? The so-called N-word, spick, and all these different racial names, Negro, African American, black, and all these different names that have been put on the Israelites that aren't their real names. They're titles. They're different things you can call a person, but they're not a race. So that's why black people call themselves all different type of names, because their slave masters or the people that their countries that run the lands they live in have changed their names. Verse 43 and 44. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high. So basically, the white man would enslave them, and he would have the ability to build a system on their backs that would exclude them from knowing anything that they really need to know. He shall lend to thee, speaking of mainly Jewish people who run the financial aspect of the world, and also a lot of people don't know that Jewish people ran the slave trade, and 75 to 80% of all the plantations were actually owned and operated mainly by Jewish people who hired, Irish and different people to oversee them, their slaves. verse 46 says, "These shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever." So what does this mean? Until Christ comes back, rulership of the children of Israel will not change. Now, spiritually, you can reunite and come together as a people, but you will still be under this system, this Eurocentric white supremacist system. Okay? Verse 48. Verse 48.
Hold on. Verse 48. Hold on. I got it, Josh. 48. Okay. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Most High shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck on the ships until ye have destroyed thee. Till ye have destroyed.
So that's talking about, and to prove this, let me go to Google Images.
Mm-hmm.
It's not coming up. Okay. Okay. If you go and you type in yokes of iron in Google's images, what will, oh, look what comes up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who does this, what does this remind people of? Remember, the Bible says remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's time for people to do a little bit remembering. The Bible says that one of the signs is that the Israelites would be put in yokes of iron, and it doesn't really matter that the picture's on enlarging. You get the point. These are the yokes of iron spoken of in Deuteronomy 28:48.
Can you enlarge it, Josh? Okay. Well, they know, Josh, they know, some of them know their history. They're listening. And it's no slur. You have to know these things.
Right.
And that you're still enslaved in your mind today because you're in a false religion. You don't belong in there. Eating pork and shellfish and destroying your body. There it is.
That's Roots.
Now, Roots, remember now, this was a Muslim movie.
Nope.
Some of it was, right, Josh? I mean, some of it. Or no, it was an African-American movie. It wasn't really, geared to show you it was the Hebrews. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Correct? Because, Kunta Kinte, right?
Yeah.
Remember, she always kept, oh, you African, See, they wanted to portray to you in that movie that you're Afro-American. But that's the name that the American government gave you and the slave traders.
So these are the yokes of iron. That's talking about the different things they put on you.
Mm-hmm.
And would lead you around with. Okay?
We'll get ready. To make the chicken, I don't know what she's gonna make tonight. We're gonna make peas, right?
Now that would also be used on the Hispanics and the people that were here as well, because they went through slavery as well. Go to verse 65.
All right.
64 through 68, then we'll finish in Joel.
64, 68. Deuteronomy 28. And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth, flat earth, even unto the other. And there shalt thou serve other gods.
Stop. So the Most High said that he would scatter the whole nation of Israel, all find Israelites all over the earth. All over the earth, in every nation. Read, and they would serve other gods, other religions.
Other gods which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even the wooden cross, the Christianity, and the Mecca stone.
Read, and among these nations, read.
And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shalt the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Most High shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee.
So that's speaking about you as a so-called Negro here in America have no assurity of your life, whether you're in your own neighborhood or you're around.
You are.
That means a cop can shoot you down and get away with it. Your own people can shoot you down. Race on race violence and police brutality. Who does this curse fit? The Israelites,
right.
The Negroes.
And shall have no assurance of thy life.
Read.
In the morning thou shalt say, would the Most High it were even. And at evening thou shalt say, would Ahayah it were morning, for the fear of thine heart, wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Egypt means bondage, America.
So the Most High would bring you into captivity again, but this time, instead of walking into it,
you're going to go by ships.
You're going to go into it by ships.
By the way.
So what people do we know of that have been enslaved, and the main way they got to their different places where they were sold were on ships, right? Slave ships, like what we're showing here. This is what the Bible is referring to in Deuteronomy 28. And ye shall shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, whereof the
way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Read.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. No one save you. So we'll go to Joel.
Joel 3.
Yeah, Josh, you can read Joel. Get some good legwork today. Just fun.
I want to go finish this in Joel.
Just set the table. Take that chair too. Give me the pillow too. Thanks. Good lesson, Josh.
Coaster.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Oh.
So I want, hopefully it will allow me, Joel. So I'm waiting for it. I just want to go through some quick stuff and show you all whenever we'll share the screen again. And so while I'm waiting for Joel to come up, because I want to finish in that, let me add this. This is not here meant, anything we said here today is not meant to offend or insult anybody. It's meant to educate and inform. When you really understand true history of true true history, you'll have no other option but to share it with people.
You know, that's just what Felix said today when he heard that message on that Truth Will Unveil. I said, didn't I tell you? I said, you got to listen close because the brother, he goes pretty quick with it and he breaks it down. And he admitted it, that we've been lied to. I said, you better. And he went to the service over there. He believes there's no Middle East either.
I'm just
close your light over there. Yeah, you can put this back. I'll bring the other chair inside.
okay. I want to close with Joel. The book of Joel. If it will. So, as I've shown you today, one more share screen, then I close. Joel 3:1 says, "For behold, in those days, the last days, and in that time will I bring again the captivity, or I will deliver my people, the captivity or slavery of Judah and Jerusalem. I will also gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat to plead with them there. For my people,
Come on.
not everybody,
That's right.
not all nations, but for the Israelites." And again, the Israelites are the okay. I'll start with the Southern Kingdom tribes. The Israelites are the Jamaicans, the West Indian blacks are the Benjamites. The tribe of Levi are the modern day Haitians, and the Negroes are the tribe of Judah. Okay. The tribe of Manasseh are the so-called Cubans. Those in the Dominican Republic are the tribe of Simeon. So if you are the descendant of the original people that lived here without mixture in your blood, you are if you are a Cuban, you are from the tribe or live in that area, you are from the tribe of Manasseh. If you are a descendant of a Dominican man going back 400 or 500 years, you are and you live in the so-called Dominican Republic, you are the tribe of Simeon. If you live if you are a Puerto Rican by blood, in other words, if your family comes from that area and has been there for hundreds of years, going back to the original Taino Indians, you are from Ephraim. If you are a indigenous person of Mexico, you are of the tribe of Issachar. If you are an indigenous Panamanian or Colombian, so-called, because those were not the original names of these lands, you are Zebulonite, according to the Bible. If you are indigenous to Venezuela, Brazil, Argentina, and Peru, you are of the tribe of Asher. You're an Asherite. If you are a Native American or Seminole Indian, you are the tribe of Gad for the Native Americans and the tribe of Reuben for the Seminole Indians. If you live and also Reuben is also the indigenous people of Australia. If you live in Hawaii, or the neighboring Pacific Islands, you are a Naphtali from the tribe of Naphtali. So those are the 12 tribes of Israel, if I call them all out. So the Most High is going to gather all these nations to plead with his people, for his people and for my heritage, whom they have scattered among the nations, and pardon my land. And they have cast lots for my people and given a boy in other words, you have sold all my people to different lands. I want to skip to verse 5. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold and my goodly precious things. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold to the Grecians. Who are the Grecians? The Grecians are the white man, the Europeans. So different African tribes conspired against the children of Israel living in Nigeria, Benin, in the west coast of Africa, between Angola, Congo, Nigeria, Benin, Niger,
Cameroon.
And this general area in Africa is where the Southern Kingdom Israelites or the Negro tribes came from. Those are who the Grecians So, excuse me, I just had a little technical difficulty. So, as I just said, the Israelites have been sold and scattered throughout the earth. And so, as we have showed you through the lesson who these people are and through history, remember, this is one of the books we showed to prove one of our points about who the tribes are. And we hope you were blessed
with truth.
with truth and shalom.